Hey everybody, it's Dr. Brennan, 150 days and 150 videos, all things transformations, cleansing, weight loss, and more. And today I wanted to do a little bit more cardio in detail. I forget exactly which book it is. This is not Casey Wellness Institute proprietary information. You do have to go digging to really be able to put the pieces together. But when you're doing cardiovascular exercise, there's some clear advantages to doing it in certain ways. And what I mean by that is making sure that you're getting the most fat burn out of your cardiovascular exercise that you possibly can, which, and for the most part, is where most people are doing cardiovascular exercise, is for the purpose of losing weight. Where I want to take that is a lot of people go to the gym after work, afternoon, whatever. They've already eaten. And this is a very, very key and important fact. If I start doing any type of exercise after eating later in the day, you, in general, have a stored up version of sugar called glycogen in the body. Glycogen is your first prioritized type of energy to burn if you don't have readily accessible glucose from a recent meal. That gets burned up first from the blood, but then it's the glycogen, which is more or less the stored version of glucose. Your body only stores so much of this, and it usually can sustain your body between 45 minutes and 1 hour of exercise. Then after that, your body starts to get into more fat burn and things of that nature. And so it's very key that the first thing that you want to do to maximize your cardiovascular training is to make sure that you don't do it after having had food. So having it before food skips that entire first hour of exercise and gets you straight to burning fat. So you can get to that optimal heart rate that's perfect for fat burn. Well, you can be living there for the hour instead of burning through sugars for the hour. And that can go a long way in benefiting them. So that's also why a lot of people do their cardiovascular exercise after they do their resistance training first. So they do the resistance training. Glycogen's very good for muscle resistance training, weightlifting, etc. It's better for that. You usually get more reps, better performance. Then they'll go and do cardiovascular exercise once they've used up that glycogen. Sometimes I do utilize that, but what I'm going to talk about here is how to take cardiovascular exercise and put it on steroids, in other words. So I've already established that you want to do the cardiovascular exercise before you have your first meal, before your body has this glycogen available to it. You want to have it while you're in that fasting state. So we've been talking about intermittent fasting, being in a state of ketogenesis, and making sure that you're using fat in the body for energy. Being in that state when you do your cardiovascular exercise is going to push your body into using fat as your primary energy source at that time. So the moment you start working out and doing your cardiovascular exercise, it's going to be far more effective at burning the fat. Now, one of the interesting things about cardiovascular exercise is, well, let's put it this way. So in that case, if you did 2 hours of cardiovascular exercise after a meal, would be the equivalent to the fat burn that you'd get with, say, 1 hour of cardiovascular exercise during your intermittent fasting part of your day. Now, to take it a whole nother step though, doing cardiovascular first thing in the morning, right when you wake up, there's an important key to this, and it's because at this point in your 24-hour daily cycle, cortisol, which is when done and used correctly, is a very healthy hormone for you to have, is supposed to be at its highest at that time of the day. So as long as you're not having any massive adrenal fatigue or other issues with the adrenals, make sure you're doing adrenal testing if you do suspect that there is some there and you need to have that checked out. If you're a normal human being, your cortisol is higher right when you wake up. And if you go and do your cardiovascular exercise right there at that time, so there's a difference between right when you wake up because of the increased cortisol levels and then doing it before your first meal later in the day, because your cortisol levels will gradually decrease as the day goes on. Right when you wake up is the time to do it. If you do 20 minutes of cardiovascular exercise and within that first hour of waking up, you're going to have the high cortisol levels on your side. So we've already established if you eat before you have glycogen from your food meals, you're going to go straight to burning fat. And so 2 hours of cardiovascular exercise is now the equivalent to 1 hour if you do it during the fasting piece. If you do 20 minutes of cardiovascular exercise with high cortisol levels right when you wake up, that 20 minutes burns fat at such a high rate because of how cortisol helps you break down fat. You will burn the same amount of fat that you would have in an hour or that second hour later in the first 20 minutes. So you've knocked out the first hour of glycogen, so that's gone, and in 20 minutes you've burned what that whole second hour worth of cardiovascular exercise was. Now, the other part is now you don't eat for 1 hour after that cardiovascular exercise. So you can do the amino acids. Same thing as you do on the intermittent fasting. We've talked about it. You can do the amino acids. You can do MCT oil or exogenous ketones. Those are okay, as long as there's not fillers with them. And you can have those during that hour, but don't have a first legitimate meal until an hour after that. And the key thing, because of the increased cortisol levels, the increase in resting metabolic rate, that 1 hour of resting is now worth a third hour of afternoon post-meal cardiovascular exercise. You could do 3 hours of cardiovascular exercise from 3 to 6 in the afternoon after eating meals, or 2 hours of cardiovascular exercise while you're still in your intermittent fasting stage, or you can make a choice and do 20 minutes first thing in the morning, right when you wake up, and not eat for 1 more hour and get the same amount of fat burn. It's up to you. And in my opinion, that's great anyway, because we know that cardiovascular exercise, you start losing the benefit to the heart after about 18.5 minutes. So that fits. Now that 18.5 minutes is being maximized for effectiveness. You're getting the maximized heart benefit, you're getting the maximized fat burn, and you're saving yourself a ton of time to take it all, you know, it's just, you put it all together and all of a sudden you start feeling a whole lot better about the choices you're making because of what you're getting with the time invested and the effort invested. You have to work less hard, you get to save time, and you get all the best benefits, sacrificing nothing. If you can get to 5K in 20 minutes, that's what I tell everybody to make your goal. If you can, there's no reason to run a marathon or to do excessively long bike rides. You can do those things, but when you really want to maximize what's best for your overall health, 20 minutes, 5K. 20 minutes, 5K. Focus on speed and efficiency, maximize your fat burn, save yourself a ton of time, and go on about your day. End of story. All right? That's it.